Gone are the days when power is at the tip of the sword or barrel of the gun. Power is in education. This is Teacher Viola again for another video. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, like, comment, and share to your family and friends. In this video, we are going to talk about the presentation of a new lesson. Prior to presentation of the new lesson, review of the previous lesson is needed. It means going back to the previous lessons. The classic review startup are the following. Let's review. Do you still remember what we have studied last meeting? What did we study last meeting? Or what did we study yesterday? After the review of the lesson, when you are already sure that the student has understood the previous lesson, you can now proceed with the presentation of the lesson. The teacher should now present the new lesson to the learner. There are questions you can ask in preparing the presentation of your lessons. So here are the two most common. Number one, is the material interesting and relevant to the students? Number two, is the language needed to discuss the material accessible to students? Do the students need pre-existing knowledge on the topic? Or the question, is the material interesting and relevant to the students? You should always first consider the students in the presentation of your material. For example, you may be interested in studying hobbies, but the students may not be. What's more, it's not your responsibility to tell the students they should be interested on something because it is an important and current topic. Focus on the material to introduce the practice of the language that can be reused elsewhere, such as vocabulary, phrases, discourse markers, and the structuring of ideas. In the question, is the language needed to discuss the material accessible to the students, or do the students need pre-existing knowledge on the topic? You should also consider what language will be needed to successfully talk about the topic. If students are not at sufficient enough level to talk about the material, then both the teacher and the students will feel frustrated. If students don't have the right vocabulary or background knowledge to talk about the topic, the level of conversation will tend to be simple and shallow. Students will not be able to improve accuracy or fluency skills. Although there may be instances where a controversial topic is appropriate for a lesson, generally, consider that the students often represent a different backgrounds, interests, and beliefs. If you select controversial material to discuss, you risk angering, frustrating, or alienating some of the students. However, the purpose of the lesson is to practice English and not to have one's beliefs attacked or marginalized. Students should feel positive about learning experience, and this means the whole learning experience. In other words, they walk into a class feeling positive, and they also go out of the class with similar positive feeling. If the topic or discussion is visibly upsetting some students, then you should change the topic or refocus the conversation. No students want to feel attacked or marginalized in what should be a supportive and collaborative learning environment. Presentation of the lesson is very important to young learners. However, adult learners can benefit from it, but the teacher must be careful, be very careful in using appropriate tools. How to present a lesson. You can present your new lesson using ideas here, or you can make your own lesson presentation style based on the type of students you are handling. To give you some ideas, here are some ways to introduce your lesson. Number one, through song. Number two, through games. Three, through pictures. Four, through riddles. Five, anecdotes, and a lot more. To give you an example on how to use song to present your new lesson, here's the song Old MacDonald Had a Farm to use in Unit 8 Animals of Let's Go 1. Sample of game, for example, here's a snake and ladder to introduce lesson on food in Let's Go 1, Chapter 7. To use pictures, here are sample pictures of bad habits that you make the students comment, and from there you introduce the reading material and the conversation topic about good habits and bad habits from Express Yourself. Those are short but maybe helpful tips on how you can introduce your new lesson to your students. But definitely, you just don't teach just like that, or you don't just tell our lesson for today is about blah. You have to come up with a little presentation of the lesson. So it is like fertilizing the soil when you are planting. So the presentation of the lesson prepares the learner for the task to communicate in the second language. Again, this is Teacher Viola, and our next video, we're going to talk about the next step after presentation of the lesson. So I'll see you again in another video. Goodbye.